give up the fight.
Welcome to 3CR on Raising Our Voices. Today in the studio we have Pauline and Peter.
Hi, James.
Hello, Pauline.
Hello, James.
Hello, Peter.
So, Pete, you were going to start with a special statement about our friends at 3CR.
Yes, I am Paul, and I'm going to be serious about it. First I began in 1976, got 4 years of radio in it year. It's unbelievable, and we've been involved for nearly 9 years or so. First I provide a forum for people with disabilities, women, people who are indigenous, people from the outback, But they also involve people who are migrants from overseas who are trying to come to our land, and whether they be Muslim, whether they be Christian, whatever they might be, we give them forum to talk, and that is fantastic. What I find amazing at the moment is people are backing up for what we say and what we do. The radio station is under attack. Now, I don't agree with that. I think it's vulgar, I think it's vile, and I think it needs to stop. So, my statement ends by saying that I'm the president of the main group Amaya. I'm proud to be so. And I would say that we at Amaya and we commentators who run this wonderful radio show, that polarising of women need to sit back and really have a look and support our personnel, because we need to do that. We need to put a whole weight behind our main radio station. We've helped people like this, I help other people, and I have been going in another 4 years, giving people a voice. Not only people with disabilities, everyone in our community needs and deserves a voice. So guys, let's support the radio station, no matter where we are. Remember, in June, if you can support by donating money, and let's have a bit. I find radio fun. Radio. Sorry. Radio not.
So, just to sort of summarise there, and you probably want to say something about this too, James, that
Yes.
if we don't support 3CR, it can't support us.
That's true, yes.
And we, at Amida and Reinforce, who put on this show, Raising Our Voices,
Yes.
have had the opportunity to come into this studio and raise our voices.
Yes.
You guys have been for 28 years.
Yeah.
I mean, is that important?
Yeah, it is important to get your voice out
It is, isn't it?
and to get it heard.
That's right. It makes a difference.
Yeah.
What you believe for? I've been involved for nearly 22 years on air. I've been involved nearly since the outset of radio. Not quite, but nearly.
And if you think about all the issues
That's good.
I think of all the issues that you've talked about, I mean,
Yeah.
if you think about what they might be, it's like abuse against people and their rights being, not
Yep.
respected, but also all the positive stories of inclusion
Yep.
and, the changes that we can see happening. And 3CR is a good example of inclusion, isn't
And
it?
as I say, like we have fun, or like we come here to give our point of view, and we come here to say serious things. I'm not going to be too serious because it's fun.
It
It's
is.
fun. But
It
I
is.
had to be a bit serious tonight and say, let's support our other
And
Totally.
and it's interesting too that you say that, because what we're saying by being here again tonight is we won't be silenced.
That's
true.
And what should anyone be told? Any group out there, anyone, whether they be women, kids, migrants from another country, why couldn't we sit back and let people run a life for us? No, sorry, that is wrong. And I'm fully against that. That's what the statement is all about. Because let's not go on that. Let's get on with tonight's topic.
Well, it's
And
kind of
tonight-
on the topic though, because we were going to talk a bit about safety in Melbourne.
Yes.
And inclusion for people with disabilities on the streets of Melbourne. And this is kind of the same issue, that even if things at times seem a bit hairy out there,
Yeah.
we don't stop. People don't stop going out. People with disabilities should keep pushing the borders, keep pushing the boundaries, and keep making the streets more inclusive.
Let
Yeah.
me stop without you for listening too quickly. Do you feel safe? And what can you do about it?
What can we do about it?
Think
Great
of-
one.
Think about that while we talk. Please.
So when we brainstormed this show beforehand, we met with one of our good friends, Luke.
Yes.
He was saying one of the things that would make him feel an awful lot safer on the streets is if people who were using their phones, their mobile phones, would think about the fact that when they're walking along or standing on the footpath or on a corner about to cross the road, if they're using their phone at the same time, that can really make things a bit scary for people with disabilities who might have balance problems or be in a wheelchair.
Come on, it's scary for anyone. And I'm putting in a wheelchair. You're going along. I know you, but you're on your mobile phone. What are you looking at going?
Yeah, so the person on the phone might come off the worst for it.
And
Pete runs you over.
And then my brain will wheelchair user because they're not behaving, but they're not my wheelchair user fault, man, all the time. It might be, but
Well,
I
you've got to
can't
look
tell-
where you're going, don't
you
you?
got
Yeah,
to
of
look
course.
where you're going. As I drive in the car, look where you're going, guys.
Ooh, yes. So, what do you reckon, James? Have the mobile phone crew been out on the streets getting in your way at times?
Not really, no.
No, you haven't had that problem.
No, not
I
really.
have. They stop, they walk slow, they don't
Yeah.
look. But there you go. The other one that Luke had mentioned to us was people rushing past.
Yes, and people bumping into you and rushing past, and which is not good to rush past someone with a balance, which the person could fall.
That's right.
Well, Lou did fall and he broke a leg.
Luke did
And,
fall.
and
yeah.
he broke, and then about a case, he broke 4 or 5 fingers.
Yeah, that he did. So, just for the listeners, that story, what happened to our friend Luke was he was actually walking along, taking
Yeah.
his time, being careful when someone from behind rushed past him and bumped him.
Yeah,
And he fell forward and put out both his hands, as you do, to protect yourself.
of course.
But he landed on those fingers and broke 4 fingers, which was really tough. I mean, imagine 2 hands being in plaster for a long time. It's pretty hard to get things done, and
Yeah,
it really did, for him, affect his life. But the other time was actually on public transport, and that's another place where sometimes
Yes.
people can be a bit unthinking. Have you found that happens?
it's happened to me a few times because I've tried to get on a crowded tram and I had to wait for the next one because the first one was crowded, and then I ended up walking to the place that I was going to.
Sometimes it's better to walk, isn't it, if you can?
And I was only going to the Grand Casino with a
Oh.
friend, so I decided to walk.
Well, it's probably a good idea. You had time to think on the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, our friend Luke again had another incident. He was full of stories, but he actually was getting onto the tram, holding on to both sides to take his steps up. And somebody who was trying to get off pushed past him so that his hand let go on one side, and he
Yeah.
fell back onto the street and broke his leg that time. So again, just a simple thing that everybody, fully expects to be able to do, get on the tram. And there's plenty of doors, but
Of course.
somebody just wasn't thinking, I guess. And I guess that's a big issue for lots of people, but for people with the disability, it can mean the difference between being able to access the community and not being
Yeah.
able to access the community. It's a big one.
It is.
Yeah. So people out there need to slow down,
Yes.
open your eyes,
Yes.
look around you, think about other people. Don't
Yep.
just think about where you're rushing off to, because you're sharing the city streets with everybody. It's the
true,
community
yes.
out there on the streets, not
Yes.
just you. So you've got to have
And
respect.
people should be not rushing around a lot and take it easy.
Take it easy.
Yes.
Exactly. Heading into summer. That's the way
Yeah.
to be.
Yes.
So on that note, maybe we should have a song. What do you think?
Yes, we should.
We should. What about our friends at Reinforce have actually put out a new CD called No Strangers Here,
Yes.
and one of the tracks on that is the Happy Song.
Yes.
So let's have a listen.
Let's be happy.
Happy is the way I am, like I've won a grand slam. Happy in my life, no trouble and strife. Happy makes my world go round. Happy is my stable ground in my final hour. Happy will always be my power. I have a special message for you. Say happy things, think happy things. Happy, 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 ha, ha, ha. Happy will get inside of you. Take a friend in hand, or if you wish, make a stand. Or take them to your favorite coffee place. See that smile grow on their face. Happy makes me feel good, like I promised to you it would. Today I feel great, I think it must be fate. Reinforce has given me true mates. Come on, give it a go. Feel your body glow. Think what makes me happy, no, not snappy. Happy. Happy is the way I am, like I've won a grand slam. Happy in my life, no trouble and strife. Happy makes my world go round. Happy is my stable ground in my final hour. Happy will have a special message for you. Say happy things, think happy things. Happy, 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 ha, ha, ha. And happy will get inside of you. Happy, 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 ha, ha, ha. And happy will get inside of you.
I tell you what, I like that too, guys. Welcome back to Raging a Boy. 855 on the AM dial. I'm pretty boy and girl. Let me say, I'm a happy man that I will probably never win a Grand Slam, but that's alright. Okay. Paul, I believe you went to a launch the other week. However, what happened?
It was
give me a
great.
rundown.
Yeah, it was great. So the launch was on Thursday. That was International Day of People with a Disability at the Multicultural Hub. And Jenny Allison, who sings that song, actually performed it there with Reinforce and the whole audience singing along, which was pretty fun. And there was a few speeches. They had Ken Ong from Melbourne City Council. They'd put some money into the project, and there were all the people who'd been involved came along, and it was great because they explained that they actually got a whole lot of people with disability together from Reinforce to talk about what issues they wanted to put into their songs, and they brainstormed and got all the words down on a page, and then these musicians turned them into songs.
Tell me, Paul, what is the Reinforce start?
Yeah, not sure, but I reckon it was around 1980.
1980,
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Something like that.
That was 1981 was the International Year of People with Disabilities, and I believe I started about that time.
I think you're right.
God, I've been going on 35 years, so keep it going, guys.
Yeah, we're gonna actually. I did some interviews with people at the launch, so if listeners want to tune in to our future shows, we've got a special coming up on that, and we'll certainly be playing the
that
CD.
Will be March.
I think so.
And, are we happy? Yeah, we are.
Definitely.
Happy. But I will never win a Grand Slam. I will never win a Grand Slam.
As long as you feel like you did.
I will. Go.
So, James, we were talking before the break, and Pete, about being able to be included in the community out on the streets, and in
Yes.
particular that sometimes the rest of the community doesn't make it that easy for us. So we talked about some of the good places. So, James, where do you find it safe and a welcoming, good place to be in the city?
Cafes.
Yeah, cafes. Some cafes are good, aren't they? Do you have any
Yes.
favourites?
No.
What about you, Pete?
I will.
It's hard to find a good accessible cafe, isn't it?
I move around a lot. So I don't know where somewhere I go all the time.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, this would be a good project for someone to do a little review on accessibility of all the cafes around.
But-
One of the self-advocacy groups that were at the Q&A last week, the Shepparton group, have actually done that in Shepparton. They've been to all the cafes and reviewed them, which is great.
Good on you, Shep.
Great idea. Anywhere else, James?
Train stations.
Sometimes train stations can be safe. Yeah,
Safe.
yeah.
Traveller's Aid.
Traveller's Aid.
Traveller's Aid, yes.
Down there, platform 10. Outside platform 10, that finished straight railway. Get down there. If I ever want and say, great staff, great people, get down there and say good day.
State Library
Yeah, yeah,
is safe to be at as well.
yeah.
Never been there.
Haven't you? Yeah, you should drop in.
Too hard to get into.
Is it? No accessibility?
Not that I know of.
I know there's the front entrance has definitely got steps, but there is a side entrance. It might be, and again, another good one to check out and try.
Federation Square Visitor Centre is safe to go to as well.
Yeah. Have you been there?
Yes, I've met people there.
Yep.
Police stations.
Yeah, I guess you can always
safe.
go in there sometimes. Depends which side of the glass you're on. But generally very safe, yes. Which brings us to the topic of the public transport police or the
Yes.
what are they called? Protective Services Officers, PSOs.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, what do you reckon, guys? Do they make it safer?
You hear all the dramas about PSO. May I say, because I do good work, you are fantastic to me, and I've never had a problem. Sat with me for 3 hours when I broke down one night waiting for a taxi, couldn't get one, and they sat with me and they were fantastic. Keep up the good work, guys, and please don't give them crap.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of when they kind of come into their element, and why they're there is if
Yep.
someone with a disability, as you say, is stuck, or anyone is stuck, they'll look after you,
Yep.
call for
Yep, exactly.
someone to come.
And it's safe. Really. It's about being safe. It's about being wanted. Yeah.
Yep. Anywhere else, James, that you hang out?
Acme.
Oh, yes, Acme. It's got a nice big open space you can go into, hasn't
Yeah.
it? Some of it's free. And
Some of it's free,
I've
yes.
been there once.
yeah.
I have, yes. And there's a
Yeah.
few cafes at Federation Square you
Yeah.
can call into.
Yeah, true.
There's the Time Out Cafe at Fed Square.
You found them welcoming
Yes.
and accessible?
Yes.
That's good. Well, I reckon we should go on a cafe crawl and check them all out.
Yes.
What do you think about another song? We got time?
yes.
There's a really good one on the CD about the Drummond Square. I can't even say it. The Drummond Street Squat. So Reinforce back in the day squatted this building. It's a government building that was going to be sold off to private developers, and they wanted it turned into housing for people with disabilities. So the song tells a story. We'll let Reinforce tell us about Drummond Street.
Yes.
On the wall in the office of Reinforce is a handwritten story that tells the cause of the long, hard struggle for those of us with ID to find a voice and be heard for what we need.
Like transport, health, education and play, like living in houses like everyone else every day, and the simple freedoms that most others enjoy that were consumed by the shackles institutions employed. But it was the spring of 1982 that the winds of change came sweeping through. We took on the government, who had houses to spare, who held them for staff from any damn where. There was this one old place in Drummond Street that had been sitting there empty in no one's keep. They said it was one more place for ministry staff, but what about us? We said, why did we come last? So we walked right in and started to squat, and the government said, hey, get out you lot. But we sat right there for all to see, and the ministry's power was in jeopardy. And we came and we stayed and we wouldn't let go. We talked to the world, let everyone know discrimination and human rights. Equality is everyone's fight. We're tired of promises and government words, tired of waiting for our voice to be heard. Started talking with our own 2 feet as we moved in to 112 Drummond Street. 112 Drummond Street. 112 Drummond Street. Many days went by and the government found that we were set. We would give no ground. So the ministry sent lots of suits in to talk, but our demands were clear, empty-handed they walk. And And finally the minister, Mr. Roper, came. He heard our story and recognised the shame. He said this house, but not without some remorse, will be signed right over to reinforce. So we went to his office in Parliament House. We signed that paper and we heard him announce that he would fund many houses for those with ID, and we knew Reinforce had won a great victory. And we drank champagne right then and there as Tom opened a bottle for us squatters to share. And apart from this story that we have on our wall, we still have that bottle to remind us all. And we came and we stayed and we wouldn't let go. We talked to the world, let everyone know about discrimination and human rights, equality and everyone's fight. And we're tired of promises and government words, tired of waiting for our voice to be heard. We started talking with our own 2 feet as we moved in to 112 Drummond Street, 112 Drummond Street, 112 Drummond Street.
Looking back now, that was 33 years ago. Some changes have come, but man, they've been slow. And while our victories are few, they still taste so sweet. In particular, that time we squatted in Drummond Street.
Wow.
Wow.
What a story. See,
Yes.
the untold history of people with disabilities taking action way back then
Yes.
and still today. Good one. So I think that's it for us, isn't it, guys?
Yes.
So thank you, James.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pete. What's coming up for us?
We've got a special radio show program in January and a double show on the coronary what we had about 4 weeks ago in Victoria Street, Melbourne. May I just say thank you to everyone that was involved. Thank you to you, Paul. Thank you to Gabriel. Thank you to Dean Jackson. Thanks to Chris and Melanie. Chris Smith, Liz Cairns, Jen Hargrave, and Chloe, and of course Pete Fergus for being involved. But thank you for coming up and supporting it. Maybe one day we might hold it again and get some more issues out there. But see you later.
Yep.
29 practices. See you later. Coming up next is Templeton. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
On Sunday, November the 1st, 5 members of the fascist group United Patriots Front, the UPF, gained entry into 3CR and filmed throughout the building without permission.
In an effort to intimidate the station and its programmers, then they posted the video on their Facebook page.
The UPF also made an unwelcome visit to the Melbourne Anarchist Club on the same day.
3CR rejects these tactics of intimidation and expresses our solidarity with other groups subjected to harassment and vilification from groups such as the UPF, who are of concern because of their racist, Islamophobic and anti-Semitic beliefs, hostility to the left and capacity for violence.
3CR reasserts our commitment to progressive politics and our core mission of providing a voice to people denied a voice elsewhere in the media and in society.
Affiliated with the station are a diverse range of community organisations, from trade unions to housing groups to music appreciation clubs.
We stand by our commitment to provide a voice for Muslims, newly arrived migrants, Indigenous people, unions, women, queers, the working class, people from culturally and linguistically diverse backgrounds, and people with a disability.
As such, we will continue to do what we have always done, uphold basic principles of human dignity, diversity and fairness.
We call on all listeners and supporters to join us in rejecting this amateur schoolyard bullying and the politics of fear that fosters bigotry and the marginalisation of vulnerable minorities.
3CR, where diverse communities work in solidarity with each other.
You've been listening to a 3CR podcast produced in the studios of independent community radio station 3CR in Melbourne, Australia. For more information, go to allthews.3cr.org.au.